Hello everyone, myself Shweta M. Premod, Assistant Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, Vedavyasa Institute of Technology. Today I am here to present a tech talk about solar collectors. Solar collectors gather the sun's energy, transform its radiation into heat, and then transfer that heat to a fluid. This heat is extracted by flowing fluid, usually air, water, or oil, in the tube of the collector for further utilization in different applications. Solar collectors are mainly classified as non-concentrating collectors and concentrating or focusing collectors. Moving on to concentrating collectors. Concentrating collectors intercept direct radiation over a large area and focus it onto a small absorber area. The collector in concentrating type consists of a concentrator and a receiver. Receiver is a device that is able to convert the solar radiation into a different kind of energy. This can be either a heat absorber to harvest thermal energy or a photovoltaic cell to convert solar radiation to electrical energy. In order that the sun's rays should always be focused onto the absorber tube, the concentrator has to be rotated. This movement is called tracking. In focusing collectors, it may be classified as line focusing type and point focusing type. In line focusing type, the collector pipe through which working fluid flows may be considered as a line. In the case of point focusing, the point to be considered will be a small volume through which the fluid flows. Now next is the non-concentrating collectors. In non-concentrating collectors, the aperture area to intercept the solar radiation is equal to the absorber plate and thus has the concentration ratio equal to 1. Now, flat plate collectors and evacuated tube collectors are the two types of non-concentrating collectors. In flat plate collector, since it absorbs energy coming from all direction above the absorber, tracking is not required. And hence it's simple in design and requires less maintenance. It utilizes both the beam as well as diffuse radiation for heating. And the main disadvantages of the flat plate collectors are, as low temperature is achieved, the plate collectors are not used for power generation. And large heat losses by conduction and radiation because of large area occurs in flat plate collectors. The main applications where flat plate collectors are used are solar water heating system for residents, hotels and industrial purpose, solar cookers for domestic cooking, drying applications and residence heating. Now next is the evacuated tube collectors. Evacuated tube collectors are made up of rows of parallel glass tubes linked to a common flow and return manifold depending on the collector installed. There are mainly two operating formats for evacuated tube collectors. First one is the direct flow through operation and next is the heat pipe evacuated tube collectors. In direct flow evacuated tube collectors, it consists of a group of evacuated glass tubes inside each of which is a flat or curved thermal conducting plate, mainly of aluminum fin, attached to a metal, usually of copper or glass pipe. The inner surface of the evacuated glass tube has a selective coating that absorbs the solar radiation and prevents radiative loss. The heat transfer fluid is water and circulates through the pipes, one for inlet fluid and the other for outlet fluid. Since the heat transfer fluid flows into and out of each tube, direct flow evacuated tube collectors are not as flexible as the heat pipe types. Now next is the heat pipe evacuated tube collectors. In this type, a copper coated absorber plate is bonded to a sealed copper heat pipe. The heat pipe contains a working fluid, mainly of alcohol, at low pressure. When the heat pipe is heated, the liquid turns into a vapor and rises within the pipe to a condenser that is in contact with the heat transfer fluid in the manifold. At the condenser, the vapor condenses back into a liquid, releasing the latent heat. Now, the liquid then returns back down the heat pipe where it is heated, evaporates, and once more it repeats the cycle. Now, by comparing flat plate and evacuated tube collectors, we can know that in flat plate collectors, an absorber plate with a sheet of copper painted or coated black is bonded to pipes of transfer fluid. And in evacuated tube collectors, it has a glass tube with vacuum inside it is surrounding an absorber plate or area. Flat plate collectors are available at low cost and evacuated tube collectors are available at higher cost. Flat plate collectors are more efficient than evacuated tube collector at ambient temperature. And evacuated tube collectors is more efficient than flat plate collectors at lower working temperature conditions. Now the design of flat plate collectors are simple, and the design of evacuated tube collectors are difficult because of the vacuum inside the tube. Flat plate collectors are sensitive to sun angle and orientation. Evacuated tube collectors are less sensitive to sun angle and orientation. Flat plate collectors have longer life, whereas evacuated tube collectors have less life than FPCs. Thank you.